Hello, my dear friends. I'm Stanislav Shamayev, a licensed business immigration and corporate attorney in Miami, Florida. Today, we're going to be discussing the type of immigrant and non-immigrant visas, the difference between them, and basically, I will give you a small lecture on the immigration system, the type of visas, maybe how to get them, maybe a little bit on the process of them, and everything that has to do with understanding how immigration laws work in the United States of America. Let's go. Alright guys, so today is more like educational video, and if you didn't know, my first education is pedagogical. If you don't know what that word means, that means that those who get the degree, they can teach other people. Maybe if you watch me for a while, you can see that the way I give you the information is probably a lot better than everybody else. Why? Well, because I have the education in that field. I always like to educate people, I always like to teach, and even in the law school here in Miami, I was the professor assistant. During my second year of studying the law, I was actually teaching the first year law students the topic of property. So I always enjoyed it, and I still do. And if you guys think that I do it good, press that like button. You know guys, I do need your likes under this video because that shows me that you value and respect my time, my knowledge, and everything that I do for you. And I think I do a lot. Okay, so educational video. You probably heard a lot, the immigrant visa, non-immigrant, what's the difference between them? And this is actually a rather easy year than it sounds. So let me break it down for you. And let's start with immigrant visa. There are only 5 categories of immigrant visas, and I don't take the family immigration, right? So I don't do the family immigration. I do understand it, but I don't pick up those cases. And of course, if you have a relative, if you have wife, a kid, or a fiance, or whatever, your daughter, your son, who is an American citizen, or maybe in some circumstances a green card holder, then you can come to the States through other immigrant visas from the side of family. Because I don't speak about family immigration, and I don't intend to, and I'm not going to describe the political asylum cases and other type of visas when you can actually get a green card, then I discard those topics. There are other good attorneys. If you want to know about those issues more, I can recommend you other attorneys who do a great job doing those ways of immigration. We're going to be talking about the employment immigration. That's the other side of the two. There's family and there's employment, right? So employment immigration is huge, and in the immigrant part of it, when you actually get a green card, there are 5 categories. So those categories are EB-1, EB-2, EB-3, EB-4, and EB-5. So let's talk about each category separately. Let's start with EB-1. EB-1 is the category for outstanding people, for talented people. That's EB-1A. There is EB-1C. That category is for international managers and executives. You can watch this video if you want to learn about EB-1A, or you can watch this video if you want to learn more about EB-1C. There is another category, EB-1B, that's for professors and researchers. Then EB-2, and usually I look at EB-2 and EB-3 all together because both of these visas, they suppose that you have an employer in the States and that you went through the process of labor certification. There is an exception, an EB-2 category, that's called EB-2 National Interest Waiver, where you don't have to have an employer, but you have to have a project, an endeavor that is in the national interest of the United States of America. And also EB-2 is different from EB-3 in the way that it supposes that you have either a bachelor's degree and 5 years of experience, or master's degree, or maybe you're an exceptional person. EB-3 can be granted to the person with a high school diploma, right? So, but both EB-2 and EB-3, they suppose that you have an employer, just the same way as EB-1B and EB-1C. You have to have an employer. Only EB-1A and EB-2 national interest waiver could be self-petition, right, without an employer. So remember, these two visas, they are separate among all employment-based visas of 5 categories. And by the way, EB means employment-based. That's why we talk about employment immigration to the States. Now, EB-4 is a religious visa. If you work in a church or in a religious organization for some time and you have an employer in the States, you can get a green card through that program. And of course, EB-5 is a large investment visa where you can invest passively $800,000 in so-called regional center. And please watch this video if you want to learn more about passive investment in EB-5 projects, or $1,050,000 in your own project, in your own startup, so you could have 10 employees within 2 years after you get your first green card. And please watch this video if you want to learn more about active investment in EB-5 program. Okay, let's summarize. There are 5 categories of employment-based EB visas. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. 5 is investment. 4 is religious, 2 and 3 with the employer and the labor certification process, and EB-1 for talented people, for professors and researchers, and for international managers and executives. Out of all these visas, there are 2 exceptions that don't require an employer, and this is EB-1A, extraordinary person, a talented person, or EB-2 national interest waiver. All others, they require an employer in some way or another. If you don't fall within any of these categories, that means that you cannot come to the States and get the green card using those programs. However, don't be discouraged, because there are other programs, other visas that's working visas that have a lower requirement to get to the States, but still you have to have an employer in almost all of them. So any other visa that you can hear, O1, L1, E2, P1, and other visas, most of them are employment-based non-immigrant visas. And of course, there is a B1, B2, the tourist visa, there is a F1, an M1, and J1. Those are visas for studying or for internships and things like that. Even with some of them, you still have to have either employer or the school that wants you to employ you for the certain period of time. So pretty much any other visa that doesn't have the abbreviature EB is a non-immigrant visa. This is how you can easily separate. If you hear someone says, oh, I'm gonna get a P1 visa and immigrate to the States. This is wrong. You're gonna come and work, but that's not going to give you the right to immigrate. Only if you switch from P1 to O1 maybe, or EB1, or maybe EB2 or EB3, depending on the situation, then yes. Or if one says, okay, I got H1B visa, I won the lottery, I have an employer, I'm going to immigrate to the States. You're going to come and work for 3 years and then another 3 years, and if your employer is willing to sponsor you for EB2 or EB3 visa, then yes, you can say, I'm planning to immigrate using this visa. And by the way, don't forget that some of the non-immigrant visas have the dual intent in them. For example, P1, O1, and H1B have a dual intent in them. That means that when you get that visa, you don't have to prove your attachment to your home country. So they cannot deny you this visa in the embassy solely that you don't have enough attachment. You don't have family, good work, property in your country and things like that. They kind of have to give it to you because you can intend to immigrate to the States getting those visas. This is separate from B1, B2, the tourist visa, F1 visa, M1 visa. I'm not sure about J1 visa because I don't do those type of visas. But others visas don't have the dual intent. H1B, O1, P1, L1, they have a dual intent, so those are really good visas because you can be open about your immigration to the US. When you're getting the non-immigrant work visa, you have to remember how many years this visa is good for. Each visa has different length of the legal status and stay in the US. And you also have to understand this very important concept, the visa expiration date and your status expiration date. I have a separate visa on this issue. Please watch it right here. Visa expiration date is when the last time you can enter the US. The status expiration date is how long you gonna stay after you entered. So please remember these very important concepts and make sure you understand them. Alright guys, this was a short and concise way to explain the difference between immigrant and non-immigrant visas. And remember, and let's sum this up, the EB visa will get you a green card, meaning if you get a stamp on your passport with the EB visa, that means when you cross the border, you have your green card. It's gonna look like a stamp on your passport in the beginning, Form 551, and then you get the physical green card in your mail. All other visas, they give you the temporary status and a permit to work in the States. So make sure you understand these differences and make sure if you want to get ultimately a green card, you think about some type of EB visa in the future, or like I said in the beginning, about the family immigration. Maybe you have a spouse, a fiance, or some other relatives in the States who's going to sponsor you for the green card. All right, smash the like button for this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel to learn more about immigration to the States. Also subscribe to my Instagram and to my TikTok. The links are below this video. Also, below this video, you will find the links to different type of immigrant and non-immigrant visas. You can always fill out the questionnaire in those links, and I will give you a free analysis of your case within 48 hours. I'm Stanislav Shamayev, the lawyer of the future. Your future begins here. Good luck.